Let's thank La Dolce Vita Media and Joey Dominique, who's brought us Mike Mumola.
Yes, sir.
And Kurt Baker. Mike is a lawyer.
Yes.
He's an actor, womanizer. No, I'm just joking.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. and Kurt Baker. Really. Kurt, you came in with the winds with the Mike?
Yeah. I was just, I was walking down the street, saw Mike, figured out. He looked interesting. I figured I'd follow him.
I had a nice tie on. I said, well,
yeah, I like the tie. That's not St. Patrick's Day.
It is the reason we're here in many ways.
I thought you were, why, he wanted to commit suicide?
Yeah, no. So go ahead, Kurt. Why don't you tell them why we're here.
I'm trying to look at their light side of it.
That's okay. Yeah. Essentially, Mike is our honoree. We have an event coming up, and we have an organization called Attitudes in Reverse, which focuses on youth mental health awareness and suicide prevention. And Mike's been a great advocate helping us out, trying to spread the word and helping us to really teach our young people how to better manage themselves from a mental health perspective. And we want them to all have better mental health. And so we start as young as 2nd grade, and we talk to the young people, and hopefully if we take care of their mental health, then we can prevent suicides. That's the goal.
So Kurt and his wife, Tricia, thanks Trish for everything that she does. Amazing.
She's the one outside?
No, she's not.
No, she's actually on a mission tonight right now. She's working.
She's a Mormon? What are you talking about?
She's working.
No, okay. She's working.
Suicide prevention mission.
Oh, okay.
She's actually working. We're taking
I can't joke about. I shouldn't joke about. Okay.
Yeah. So no, it's good that we're talking about it, and this is what we have to do, right? We have to talk about it, and everybody has a different way of expressing things.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's really true.
Not talking about it is the worst thing, and so. Full circle, Kurt and his wife lost their 16-year-old son a few years back to suicide, and this became their life's mission. So since then, they've gone out to schools and have spoken to about 85,000 kids.
Yeah, 85,000 kids.
So it's been, I mean, they've taken something that's very, very tragic, obviously.
Well, your life is never the same again.
Yeah. That would be true, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So we have this amazing event coming up that you should probably come to if you're around, if you have the opportunity, October 16th. Here in Princeton, a taste of hope. Everybody needs hope.
I want to be here, but my wife's making me go up to Wheaton College to visit my daughter. But I guess that's apropos.
Does Wheaton College have 25 restaurateurs?
You could bring them down.
Food and drink.
I would love to.
Will. Yeah.
So you're doing the Feast of Hope. That's you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taste of Hope.
Taste of Hope. Feast of Hope.
Yes, people can go to.
It's my show. Say what I want to.
Yeah, they can get information.
As long as you donate, call it whatever you want.
Okay.
Air.ngo.
Correct. Air.ngo.
Air.ngo. So if you can come, it's going to be a great night with a lot of food, a lot of drinks, sponsorships, and
in Princeton, New Jersey.
Princeton, New Jersey.
Where Palmer Square, the Marriott.
At the Marriott.
The Marriott. 100 College Road.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually West Williamsburg.
No, it's actually Plainsboro.
Yeah. We won't discuss that. But the cause is great and everything.
Yeah. So it'll be a great night. So if people can attend, that would be fantastic. If they want to go to the website and sponsor or donate, all of the money goes to the charity, which allows 100%. Them to go out to the schools.
Yes. You're not going to a party. You're not going to vacation or anything on that stuff.
Yeah.
But what can we do? I mean, you hear so much about suicide in teens.
We can do this. We can talk.
One, to raise amplify, but why are the reason teens killing themselves? Is it worse?
Yeah, unfortunately, the stat is getting worse. The suicide rate has doubled for those 12 and under the last 10 years.
You're kidding me. In this country?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's actually a worldwide issue, but we're seeing our kids younger and younger.
That's like a major disaster.
It is.
It is. We've had kids we've lost as young as like 6 years old.
Yeah, and one of the biggest problems, we all know it. It's no secret. We see it in our homes and everywhere we go. Because of technology, we're supposed to be more connected than ever, but we're more disconnected.
Oh yeah.
Right,
yeah.
And that's the problem. So we need to be able to talk, identify, and let people know that, let young people know especially, that there are organizations like this. There are people who can help, who are equipped, because they don't. And unfortunately, when they try to deal with this on their own, it doesn't.
Well, they don't understand what they're going through, be it depression or
they don't know what it is. That's right.
Right. And
especially young people. They have these things they don't feel well, and we want to teach them it's not okay not to feel okay. And there are things you can do. There's techniques that you can learn to really kind of improve your mental health. Absolutely. Right.
Like what do they do? Like cognitive type thing?
Yeah, the younger kids will talk. We hear terms like mindfulness, but basically it's just understanding. We're just talking to Mike's wife about teaching how to breathe correctly. I mean, these types of things are very, very important. Like when to get rid of the technology, like leave your phone downstairs, charge it somewhere else.
This is a problem.
Get a clock. They work. Just as well as waking you up in the morning. They cost about $10 now, and leave the phone downstairs out of the way, turn it all off, separate, disconnect. You need to relax, just like you need a vacation. You need time to be, you need downtime from technology just as much as anything else. You need downtime from all this stimulus.
Right.
Because you need to develop. Right, and the kids don't have time, and we need to value downtime for kids, because you can teach, but unless you give them downtime to assimilate and actually process that information, you can overload them, just like exercise, right? Exercise great, but you can't exercise 24/7. Otherwise, you're going to break down.
And everything.
You're going to break down, just like with your brain. Your brain's got to have time to recover. You can work it hard, but you also have to let it recover.
I don't know how pervasive it is, but it's true, though. Like, I'm an old timer, but before technology, you went outside, you played, you interacted, and you had to learn to socialize and everything.
Kicked you out. They kicked you out of the house.
Yeah,
what are you doing here? Get out of here.
It's a natural way of living.
Get out of here.
Nature. There's so many things that are unnatural about the way we live now.
Nature can amplify and highlight your mood and everything.
Yep.
Being down in a basement doing Game Boy, whatever,
Get dirty. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Get those microbes under your fingernails.
I even see it in Princeton. I don't know what of other communities. Princeton, I'm from here, but now Princeton High School's turned into some kind of a high-intensity Japanese high school. And people are bragging about taking, I'm taking 10 AP classes. And like you said, and when they're not doing that, they're either with their computer or their friends.
Well, the problem with that is they're not sleeping.
And they're not sleeping.
Sleeping is the #1 issue that we really need to address. When kids are that age, they probably need anywhere from 10 to 12 hours of sleep. And when we talk to the kids, some of them get 4, 5, 6 hours max. And
they're developing. They're developing.
That's right, exactly. And that's when you develop when you're sleeping.
You got to. My dad.
Your brain's recovering when you're sleeping.
It's funny when you're young, you're kind of pissed off. My dad was a doctor, so because you have to eat your sleep. And I didn't take it literally though. I just, Dad, why am I going to bed at 10? I'm in 9th grade. And he goes, no, your body needs it. Your immune system needs it and everything. But it's really true. And these kids are acting like middle-aged executives.
That's right.
Burning the midnight oil. It's not healthy at all.
And it burns out.
Absolutely.
It burns out.
If you're not careful. So the goal is to help them learn better ways of living, identifying issues, like we said, and accessing organizations and people that can help.
It has to be holistic then. The parents have to be involved.
That's the key. The key is many parents don't understand that, because there's a differentiator between is it a crisis situation or is it just normal growth, normal behavior. And they
acting out, whatever.
Right. So they have to know signs, symptoms, and they have to learn how to talk to their kids about their children about mental health, just like they talk about physical health. So if you start those conversations very, very early about how are they feeling mentally, you can actually ask them, are you feeling suicidal? Are you thinking of killing yourself? You actually need to have these conversations very, very young so it's normalized. So if and when that ever comes up, they're much more likely to share that information with you if they're not feeling well or if their friends are not feeling well.
And normally, until you told me that statistic, I'd be like, what do you mean? It doesn't happen that much.
And that's right. And, you hit the nail on the head. They're mini CEOs. They're all academic, but we don't learn the most important thing, right? We're human beings. We're emotional creatures.
We're social animals.
And we don't learn really in school about our emotions and how to handle our emotions and how to talk about our emotions. I'm sad. It's not okay for a male to be sad. It's not okay. True. You have to be right. So you have to help them understand how to understand what they're feeling and be able to talk about those things. Because like Kurt said, that's one of the biggest problems that we run into. They don't know how to deal with what they're going through.
And Mike points out, men especially, young men especially, don't share their feelings, and so that's what happens. Is suicide rates are higher among men.
So it just ferments right, and everything.
Or
they think they're crazy. They don't want anyone to know, or whatever.
Fear of what other people will think.
Especially when you're a teenager. Come on, we
it's
all
everything.
That.
Image.
Because high school, it's not like you can leave your high school if you want to. You have to live there in that little in that ecosystem and everything. Because looking back, I remember some people, now I know with hindsight, some people got ridiculed and picked on. Now I look back, maybe they were depressed, maybe they had Asperger's.
That's right.
Or even the more garden variety. I found out, I went to my high school reunion, one girl, parents had an awful divorce and stuff like that. And that's why they were going through what they were going through and everything. But thank God, she had a circle of friends and everything. I could see if she didn't,
could have been
it could have really gone to the brink.
Absolutely.
And
that's another key. Friends, peer support is huge.
Yeah, just
having
even talk
somebody
to.
You can talk to, having a trusted adult they can talk to if something's happening, so they can connect them to
not even your
parents.
Not even your parents.
It doesn't necessarily have to be parents, because unfortunately sometimes parents don't get it.
Oh, they don't want to see it.
They'll say you're fine.
They don't want to see it.
It's just a phase. You'll grow out of it. Well, that may be true, but it may not be true. So you need to be aware.
And the parents aren't equipped. Very often, they're not equipped.
They're too busy. Yeah.
Kurt and his wife now they're professionals. I mean,
Right.
they have the experience to handle these situations. But like many early on, it's how do you learn that until you do, right? We don't experience these things.
They don't give you a
Right.
book on how to raise a child with mental health disorders.
My wife hit it on. She's from Ecuador in a very Latin culture. Of course, they're being affected by media and TV and all and the phones. Maybe it will change. But she goes, in Princeton, she was saying, I've never seen so many psychologists. See, I had my cousins. I had my extended family. I didn't need this garden variety psychologist to talk to, vent to, and everything. So you're right. It's the more it's so sad. The more we have technology, the more divided we've gotten in a lot of ways. But if we can't talk about you, you learned the hard way. I mean, do you want to talk about it?
Sure.
16-year-old kid. What was it?
Actually, we was diagnosed at 16. We lost him at 19. So
was it depression?
He had anxiety and depression. He was first diagnosed with depression and then anxiety. But looking back, he had severe issues, like when he was 5 years old. The old Zoloft commercial with a little cloud, remember that with that purple cloud and everything over him? He goes, Mommy, I think I need that. And he was 5 years old sitting in front of the television.
So it was organic. It was in the brain.
Absolutely. It was hereditary, organic. So there is a genetic predisposition.
Right.
But if everybody is honest about their history, most of us have something in our history somewhere that probably, at least there's a possibility. But then there's environmental factors and things like that, stressors that you need to be aware of. So we can work on the stressors. We can work on and some things are simple, like diet, exercise. We need to. A lot of us are paying more attention to it anyway, but they have found there are links to diet.
Oh, I believe it. Look at processed food, sugar, lack of exercise, serotonin.
Right, and a lot of these things that we're taking into our system are not necessarily healthy, and they might be okay as far as the FDA is concerned, but they may not be okay as far as your body's concerned.
Right.
So you have to really understand your body and really. If you don't feel good after eating something, maybe think about that. Maybe don't eat it.
With a particular trigger, exactly.
So you need to really be sensitive to that. And we've actually, since we lost our son, we've actually significantly changed our diets.
Right. It's true
over the years because and I feel much better.
Right. So you don't want to go back anyway.
Once you wean yourself off these things, you no longer want the high sugar stuff. You just don't want it because you're now you understand how intense it is.
And you feel
significantly better. And if I ever have something like sugary, now it's like almost like a shock to my system. I mean,
we weren't meant to eat that much sugar.
I'm much more sensitive to it now.
Right. Did he self-medicate before? That can cause problems too, like smoking dope or something?
He actually never, that's a common issue, and that's one thing to watch out. Substance use disorders and mental health disorders will often coexist. That did not happen in his case. The only thing, he started, I guess he smoked when he was younger. When we lost him, we were concerned that he was probably at the phase where that might start to happen because he literally been diagnosed and treated for 3.5 years, and the psychiatrists are kind of starting over. Mm-hmm. Like they were running out of techniques. We literally had tried everything that was
psychotropic, cognitive, brain stimulation, whatever.
Well, everything that we are aware of, he tried was prescribed to him. Wow. So we went around the circle with all different types of medications. In fact, my wife used to carry around a book like this when we go see a new doctor. She would literally take him through the history of everything we've tried and exactly what the reactions were to each one and how they interacted with each other. I mean, we knew more than the doctors went when we went in, only because we'd lived it and we'd seen everything. So it can be a very difficult problem. But the good news is it is solvable. In our view, everybody's treatable. You can have a 100% success rate. We may not have all of the techniques down and everything figured out yet, but we're getting better at it.
So there is hope.
We're mapping the brain out. We're understanding everything.
Taste of hope.
Absolutely. There's a lot of things progressing. And we want to make sure kids understand that even if we don't find that solution right away, just hang in there. Right? That's why it's called hope, taste of hope, right? Because you got to hang in there because everybody who hangs in there long enough does eventually find a solution. Because you talk to a lot of adults who have dealt with these things when they're younger and they're amazed that they're still alive today, but they finally found the techniques that work for them.
Right.
And now they're living much, much better lives and they're much happier.
They have to monitor themselves.
Yeah, you just have to understand how your brain works, just like everything else, right? You know what exercise you're going to, you know how far you can push yourself, what you can do, what you can't do. Well, you have to understand your brain and how it responds to different stimuli and different situations. And once you kind of understand that, then you know when you're getting to the edge. You know when to back off. You know when to kind of change course and so forth. So you can learn all of these things. You can learn. Absolutely, you can. Yes, absolutely.
You going to say? Oh, sorry.
No. That he just touched on it at the end there. Yeah, just be in touch with what's going on. Your body, monitor everything, and it's so important to go back to because you do get caught up in what happens on a daily basis. Go to school, learn. I have to study for this exam, that exam. I have to get ready. I have to prepare. I'm going to go to college. Which college am I going to go to? What am I going to be when I grow up? And then, meanwhile, not thinking about eating right, not thinking about physical activity. Taking time, meditation, taking time to just recenter, bounce, go out into nature, take your shoes off, touch the ground. just be healthy
Right.
in all way, in every way that you can. And you know, I did the statistic. You might know better than I, but you know, for teenagers now, the level of stress that they're under is the equivalent of what people in the 1950s were institutionalized for.
Yeah.
That's the amount of stress and pressure that our teenagers are under today. It's
Doesn't seem very modern.
no,
Right. Isn't it
that's
odd?
right. We're going backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. We're the wealthiest country in the world, and we're under a lot of stress.
Right.
We're not happy. So first of all, you got to put your happiness first, and then build your life around what makes you happy. And I know parents don't always want to hear that, but
It's a balance. You have to find that balance.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. But you can do it. You can discover those things that you enjoy, and you can still be very successful financially.
Right.
Because we hear a lot. I know of a lot of adults who went into career paths and they're miserable.
Right.
Yeah.
They might be making a lot of money, but they're not happy. So you have to balance the career with what you like,
Right. Right.
and then you'll be long term. You have to understand that this is a long life.
And make decisions
It's
based
a
on all that
very
too.
long life.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
live it your life.
You just mentioned
Depends how many
balance.
kids you're having and all that.
That's
Yeah.
it. I was at an event last night up in New York City with SAP and some others, and they were talking about it because now people have been talking about work-life balance, work-life balance. Now the next step that they're recognizing is it's not work-life balance, it's work-life integration. Right? It's not one side and the other versus each other. It's an integration. So that's where you have to be mindful. You have to be aware of how you're living when you're at work. Make your work life more like your home life. Make your home life more like your work life, and integrate the two of those so that you can
Or find do a
happiness.
workout in your office or something.
Take a few minutes and
Go play
stretch or
lunch
walk.
basketball or something if you can. Or
Yeah,
something.
something.
But your job must be stressful, though. as a lawyer.
Incredibly.
Right,
Incredibly,
right.
yeah.
And you have
Attorneys-
cases that that don't turn off. You have to be there, when they.
Yeah, my phone rings day and night. It goes nonstop. Weekends, people get hurt, they get arrested. People that are selling businesses and doing things like that, they usually wait until the workday. But
Not with
emergencies don't have a
Right.
schedule; they happen all the time. So being an attorney is incredibly stressful. So I personally had gone through a lot of the struggles. Trying to balance it myself. And a lot of attorneys don't come out on the other side. They struggle because of the level of stress.
Marriages suffer, the whole thing.
Marriages suffer, everything, they suffer. And so, when I met Kurt and Trish and saw what they were doing, being able to maybe apply some of the tools that I learned over the many years now that I've been working on them, I said, this is a great opportunity to try and help others. So yeah, because we all have stress. But we need to learn how to deal with it. We need to learn how to, I say, the persistent, consistent pursuit of your happiness. I believe in mentors. One of my mentors has that ingrained in me. And so now I tell people that I do some coaching and mentoring, and I tell people that that's what we have to do. Don't get caught up in anything else, but it's a consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, your happiness. And everything else, it'll fall into place. And I think so many of the kids, they get caught up on other things. They feel like they're disappointing themselves or disappointing their parents or letting somebody down or afraid to say how they really feel about something. Maybe if they're homosexual, maybe they have certain proclivities that they don't think society will accept.
Right.
And all of a sudden now they don't know how to react or respond.
And they're
or express
myopic, too.
themselves.
It's like the whole world's coming down on them.
Yeah, and you need to know that there's so much love in the world. If you find the right people in the right places, they will embrace you. And so, organizations like this are just give that opportunity.
Yeah, mentor is important. Someone to hold your hand. You still do it
Incredibly
yourself.
important.
Right.
Yeah, I still do it. I still have people that I go to nationally, and we do it for people. Yeah, because it's important. You need to have that source of, like you said, with your wife, family, and people that you can go to, that inner circle. But one of the things that we realize very often is that the people that love you, even though it's their intention, they don't always give you the best advice, because woven into that is a protection mechanism, and they want to do that. So you have to get various forms of advice and opinions to do the right things. And
So it could be both. And you can still rely on medicine sometimes. Some people say to get through rough times, you can take a Valium once in a while.
No. I mean, everybody has their own solutions, right? So you have to find out what works long term for you. And some people have medication they have, and others do it without medication. Other people do it complete without medication. Maybe they have medication for a while.
Right.
And a lot of these things are very cyclical. So these mental health things will cycle, and they could be 6 months or it could be a day. I mean, there's different processes.
So you've got to monitor, find a mentor, know you're not alone.
Right.
Keep that perspective going.
Yeah. Just
find out what works for your brain.
Yeah. Absolutely. Once you understand what works for your brain, it makes it much clearer, much better understanding. First thing for the kids is once they realize, hey, it's not me. It's something it's a diagnosis.
Right.
And they can separate the two. Now I can focus on how do I take care of that.
To me, it's almost about I'm not alone. You're not alone.
they're not alone.
Yeah.
It's about 20 to 25% of the kids will have a diagnosable mental health disorder.
Right. Wow. In a final minute, can you just tell what's going to be happening on the 16th and anything else, and just websites? Go on.
Sure.
Talk right to the camera. Which camera should they talk to? Whatever one they want. Fine.
I'll talk to all of them.
This one.
October 16th in Princeton, New Jersey, the Air Taste of Hope event. We have about 25 restaurateurs, local restaurateurs coming out with samples of all of their food. We have various organizations providing beverages, wine, beer, drinks. We have a great selection of silent auction pieces and other things, and probably 300 or so great people from around the state of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, New York. They're coming in from. We're going to have a couple of celebrities and athletes there, so it's going to be a great networking event. Really is a fun, despite everything.
I would love to be there.
I mean, it's a real.
What athletes? What celebrities besides myself?
Stay
always
tuned.
there. Stay tuned.
We can't reveal that.
And quickly, in the last 10 seconds, what advice do you give to parents who lose their child, whose child dies? I mean, any advice? Can you give advice? How do you deal with it? Get on. Well, one way.
First thing is to forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself.
Be kind to yourself. Be empathetic to yourself. And it's a process, and it'll take a long time.
But you can live again.
You absolutely can live again, and you learn to live with it. And so our Kenny, our son, is still with us here today, and some days are good days, some days are bad days, but as time goes on, it does get easier to deal with, and everybody has their own way of managing it, and we've decided our way of managing it is to go out and help others and try to prevent.
Right. Take something out of it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you're going to live, keep living.
You have to keep living, absolutely.
I was going to say, so if they, you asked about where to find everything. It's at air.ngo, air.ngo, and Kurt is all over social media, Kurt Baker, and Mike Mumola, M-U-M-O-L-A, and his wife Trish Baker. So you can find a lot of that information out there. And please, if you know somebody who might benefit from this, share this with them. Let them know there is help.
Or you can always Google Attitudes in Reverse, and we come up on the first 3 pages. So you'll find us that way very easily.
Thank you very much. And don't forget, October 16th at the Marriott Taste of Hope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next month.